Alright guys, welcome to another video. I noticed you're probably seeing all this stuff here. I'm in the middle of another project at the same time. I've got some custom emblems going on. If you haven't already been following the channel, you've probably already seen that video. If not, go and check that out. I'll have the link somewhere on the video. But these turned out really cool. And but I've got some emblems that are drying right now with some spray paint and some stencils. But while that's going on, I'm going to install this hood light. And what's really cool about this hood light here is it activates off of a switch. So when the hood is depressed on top of this thing, it doesn't have a full connection. And then when I lift the hood up, it makes the full connection, powers the lights, and then my lights turn on. So the hardest part now is, of course, trying to figure out where I'm going to run the wires so that way they look nice and clean. And these do come with instructions, which is pretty nice. If you guys are interested in doing this very same mod after watching this video, then I'll have the link down below, as well as some of the other tools that I use for this thing. So let's pop the hood and see what it looks like under there, and we'll figure out how to wire everything. So what I'll do here is I'll attach the light on the underside of this thing, and it'll aim kind of straight down into the engine bay. And then I'll run the wire all the way back through here, all along through here, probably behind here somewhere. Hide all the wires, make it nice and clean, and I'll put the switch somewhere over here. I started out by thoroughly cleaning the area of the hood where the light will be installed with some alcohol wipes. I then cut the backing of the adhesive close to the middle so that I can install it more evenly by aligning the center of the light to the center of my hood. I then cut the negative wire, which is the black one, because it has a fuse holder connected to it, and it will make it easier for me to thread the wires through the hood. To get it through this hole at the corner of the hood, I took the coat hanger off and then threaded it up into this area. Then I taped it back to the wires and pulled it through. I ran the wires under the corner trim and then under my power tray. I already knew I'd have to extend these wires because they were a little too short. So I used some spare 16 gauge wire from another project with two butt connectors. One for the positive wire and one for the negative. I also added some heat shrink to make the connections more water resistant. I decided to install the switch at this location, so I removed the rubber stop by simply pulling it off. Using a drill bit about the same size as this hole, I drilled out a little bit of the metal that sits about ½ an inch under here so that the switch could go all the way through. I pulled off the nut, keeping the washer and remaining nut on the switch, and then installed it into the area I just drilled out. For now, it is just hand tightened. I ran the positive wire behind the battery and then cut it to the length I needed before crimping on a new fork connector. I also cut the negative wire a few inches short of the switch to connect the fuse holder that I previously cut off. I also added some heat shrink to the connection. I connected the positive wire to the positive battery terminal and tightened down the nut, and then connected the negative wire to the switch. Be really careful here, as the spade connector is really thin and it'd be really easy to bend it. You should notice that your new light is now on. I tested out the switch by closing the hood to make sure that it actually turns the light off, and then pop the hood again to see if it turns the light back on. If you're happy with how everything is, tighten the nuts on your switch and then zip tie any wires that need it. Okay, so you can see how bright it is. All the lights are turned off inside my garage, and oops, now my garage lights are back on, but you can tell how bright that is. So that turned out to be a really cool install, and for about 13 bucks on Amazon, it's not bad.